Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 47. Today we will be playing LeBlanc Sivir Reputation. And so, this was the last big kind of change coming out of the 3.6 patch. If you aren't familiar with the updates that happened, LeBlanc now generates the mirror image on her flip. The For Glory is a completely new card. It both helps activate Reputation with these Trifarian Glory Seekers, and then it gives you a ton of stats for a very cheap cost if you already have the Reputation. And then the Callous Bone Crusher is now upgraded to be one cheaper and have Overwhelm. It's a pretty interesting package of cards. And the way that we're trying to get the synergies with this is mainly through vulnerables. And so we do have this package of Rockhopper, Merciless Hunter, and Bakai Sandspanner ready to pass vulnerable onto our opponent's units. And then once we have the vulnerable, we can either use a card like Thrashing Snapper to hopefully trade up the curve. Right, this should be able to take down like a 3 or a 4 or a 5 drop when it has the 5 attack. And then, of course, both Sivir and LeBlanc have quick attack. And so this kind of cycle of cards gives us a pretty nice and powerful and easy way to both control the board with these quick attack challenges and to up our reputation, getting these 5 attack hits in without too much work. And so that is kind of idea and combos for the early game, the kind of cyclical idea of what we're trying to pull off. And then once we have board control, we're going to try and finish off the game with Overwhelms. And so we'll have access to the Callous Bone Crusher with Overwhelm, the Ruin Runner with Overwhelm, and then of course the more standard combo of using Sivir along with the Absolver. And so that's the kind of core concepts that we're going for: control the early game, level up reputation, and then crush in with the Overwhelms. We are out here playing with the Incisive Tactician. This is one of the big reputation payoff cards and giving us a really sizable body on a rally. The other kind of combo you can do with the Tactician is LeBlanc generating mirror images can copy the Tactician. And so if we're attacking and getting mirror images into our hand, you can get another rally with this cycle of cards. So that is a bit unnecessary in my opinion, but it comes up on occasion. Typically, if you're just doing all of that, you've won the game anyways, but it's something powerful to keep in mind, and you can kind of spread it across turns. If you have the mirror image in hand, you might play the Tactician on the following turn and then be ready to copy it. And so, otherwise, we have a very varied collection of interactivity. We have both the Shapestone and the Absolver as our combat tricks. Quicksand also works quite nicely on offense with our vulnerables, and then on defense with the keyword removal. The only thing you'll see here is the in terms of targeted removal, we're just playing Whirling Death, not playing a big copy of Bloody Business, not playing things like not Decisive Maneuver, Desert Duel. They're all just a little bit too slow for my opinion. I'd rather just be out there and attacking as opposed to interacting with the spells like that. And so this is it. This is what we're doing battle with. Let's go ahead and see if we need to pay the pay-to-win price. And we do. We got to go out here and turn some stuff premium for Glory. The new card coming right at us. Getting that premium treatment immediately. This is going to get us some wins today. I can already feel it. Opponents may be used to just seeing Trifarian Glory Seeker, but the premium versions, the premium copies, that's something new. That's what's going to come out here and get them, really bring in the booms. Pretty excited for it. This is looking good. This is going to be nice. Now, one of the things we are going to have to watch out for here is Ezreal Caitlyn is really kind of shooting up in popularity. It's a deck that really struggled against the Sundisk. The Sundisk's now been nerfed, and as you can see with decks like ours, we're out here playing a bunch of 1 and 2 health units, right? The Glory Seekers both have 1 health. The LeBlanc only has 2, and so we are pretty vulnerable to that small damaged AoE damaged based removal suite coming out of that deck, and it's one that I think is going to shoot right up as to being kind of the premier control deck of the meta. I don't care so much about the Ezreal changes. I think there's a lot of hee-hawing about nothing with the new strength in Ezreal with his targets happening as soon as he casts the spell. But I think just that strategy in general with Caitlyn is quite powerful right now. Actually kind of interested in just playing Caitlyn and a base aggro-style deck if... just to get access to those abilities.
Places to go.
All right, we're ready. We got this big quick attack challenge right onto a spiderling. I'm ready to shut it down. Just get ready to get boomed, my dude. We're getting the reputation happening. A little unfortunate. That was a pretty powerful Vile Feast coming at us, but we'll make do. We'll get around it if we can. Okay. Opponent clearly doesn't like to have fun. Okay, and an incoming Kindred. We can deal with her a bit. I'm gonna just go ahead and lead off with the Treasure Seeker. I don't want to come out and just be losing this LeBlanc, but it's a definite possibility on the turn. Here we can get the quicksand in. Should be pretty safe. You can come in with the Twin Disciplines to go for the trade, but it's not horrible if that's what's happening. Okay. Canceling all of our reputations. We should be at reputation 2 right now. Let's get him in. Tons of stats coming on the board. I don't believe this Vigio Kindred deck typically plays things like Withering Whale. Doesn't typically play the likes of the box. So this should be fairly safe, I do believe. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't come at us with like another Vile Feast or something, but I think this should be a pretty net positive for Glory. Okay. Not horrible. Get a big chunk of damage in here and get warmed up for our next attack and the Ruin Runner coming in. Okay, we'll go ahead and drop it. There shouldn't be too much that they can play. Like, he's attacking 100% of the time, so we could just pass. But if he sees us just sitting here with 6 mana, he may not bring that 2 damage in. It's not super important for him to get that that little hit. Now, this is kind of interesting. If he does decide to come in and attack with some of these units, we could potentially spike up our reputation and spike up our LeBlanc. He wisely keeps his units at home, but that would have given us some potential to get some extra damages in there. So how do we feel about this turn? Right? What would be the worst thing that happens? Like, he plays Vigio. I don't care. The only thing I'm really kind of interested in with this turn is, like, we're not going to win the game here, but I'm kind of like envisioning this play where we generate a mirror image, and then on our next attack we can make a second spell shielded Overwhelmer. And so I think I'm okay with just getting some of these Waking Sands on the board, because we don't really need a ton of mana for this turn. But these 2 Waking Sands should be pretty good. If his play is to just like add Vigio, that's kind of nice. How are we going to do this? We're just going to Whirling Death whatever in front of Ruin Runner? Okay. Right now it's just 1 Encroaching Mist. That's okay. Get all these dudes on the board. Get all them reputations coming at us. And then we need to get 8 damage in to boost the LeBlanc. And so, like, this gets us to 9. But if he kind of interacts with something, I'll want her pushed down 1 more. There's probably not a ton of reason not to just have her be the last card in the row. Be Whirling Deathing down the Feyfolk. Looks good. We should get a LeBlanc flip, which is nice when we have the Absolver in hand. Big ol' life swing. Nopeify. Oh, what a lame-o, dude. God, I knew this guy was gonna be lame. I could feel it in my bones. Could feel it in my bones. All right, we'll get that cheapened mirror image now. Where's that Sivir at? Give us some more of these spell shields. That's what we need. Thrashing Snapper. Not a premier turn 8 draw. Not exactly what we're looking for here. We have to interact with this. Like, we're not dead to a not dead to an atrocity next turn. Probably do need to get a blocker on board though. Okay. I'm alright with that. You have to be a little careful with these Preservariums in terms of we have summons in the Treasure Seeker and in the Mirror Image. If we want to summon stuff, we need the space on board, but I think the draw was a little bit more important. Now let's see where this lands us. He knows we have the Mirror Image in hand, but I don't think I'm ready to just go like all in with this. Like, it summons exact copies, so we could pop off 2 Absolvers to give this the Overwhelm. But don't think it's quite worth it here. Okay. Can we ever win this turn with the Absolver? If we have 4 from the Hunter, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we send it through the Camaveran Soldier? Maybe. How much is all this stuff? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then if we want to get the other guy on board, that's exactly 11. I think we're in a space to just go for it. See how he spends his mana. He's got something lined up for us here, but Green Glade, look out. Okay. So the only card remaining out of this should be something like Nopify. He caught up to our width. That kind of sucks. Okay. So let's swing it over this way. We'll get the damage boost coming out of the Thrashing Snapper. If he tries to get overly clever, we can still just go for a kill this turn. And if not, we can maybe decide to come in and try and take down the Hydra Vine. So this is right, 5 plus 6 for 11. We'd be 1 damage short this way. Can we ever beat the Hydra Vine? I guess that's a very real question. Like, I think if we probably just die to a well, I guess there's 2 sides to this coin, right? We can get to 2 cards in hand next turn. We probably just have to take it down. Like, my idea with this is, like, if we pick up a like another Overwhelm, then there's a decent chance that we can still punch through this stuff. Did I really math that wrong? No, we put 4 damage on the Treasure Seeker. Okay. But no, like, you know, if we're getting to come out here and just completely full clear his board, if he's not, like, sitting on, like, Vigio Atrocity or something, we have a pretty decent shot at getting an Overwhelm that can maybe get a kill. Here's one. Maybe. Do your thing, Bone Crusher. Okay. That feels fairly promising. He's just digging for stuff. What's you up to? 5. Okay. Still not dead to Atrocity. Like, very decent chance we just get, like, boomed by a Vengeance here. But we have to try and win the game this turn. There's a LeBlanc. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Little cool, not big cool. Something like that. Vengeance, yep. Okay. Another Vengeance? Wow. Okay. Well, we're still kind of in the same spot. If he's just sitting on weird stuff, we might have a surprise chance to win with an Overwhelm, but I'm pretty sure this game's done. Emoting a little early, my friend, but I don't think we had a way out of that one. Okay. Close. But that's what, kind of the downside to this is. I think the big problem we had with that game was just Vile Feast was so good. I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to get around that. Okay. I am okay to like kind of okay to hang on to a Sivir. The question is, do we want to hang on to two? That feels like kind of greedy, but the one has a lot of promise early if we're able to get a quick attack challenge onto a vulnerable. Hells yeah, just get to send our thrashing snappers and our four glories directly into the Otterpuss. Nice. The Pokey Stick. This card's back now? Man, I thought people were done with Pokey Stick. Okay. I'm gonna wait on the Preservarium. I want to bank up the mana for this for glory. That's the more likely card to come down here in the immediate future. Alright, Varg. Let's make a meal of him. Sure. Y'all remember these days when you had to play against a bunch of like conchologists and pokey sticks? we should take to the internet and bitch about it not being here. Like we got to bitch about the UI and putting little arrows and swords on the map. That's our state of complaining these days. Where are we at? We're ready for it, Sivir. Let's see what he does. If he just passes, the idea is we'll just hook the Otterpuss with the Sivir and get the fearsome attack in. But I assume he's going to play something bigger. Oh. Perhaps not. What you bringing? Mystic Shot. You got it. That's kind of okay. With our Sivir not getting her spell shield popped. Makes me feel like she should be hanging out for a bit. Just immediately hits elusive. Must be nice. Must be nice. Here comes Scout. Who's ready for it? Impact? Okay. That's one way to do it. This is what's coming at you, so hope you're ready for it. I don't think these will be like ultra successful frequently, but we do have the Absolver in hand. That's what I'm kind of hoping carries us through the turn, is getting this hook onto Victor, him trying to play a pokey stick or like a static shock, and then we get to protect with the Absolver. How far away is we got? Tons of damage to do with Sivir. She's not going to flip this turn, but bring in the squad. Could get a good quicksand on his 2/2 attack units. Curious how that plays out. I don't think there's anything interesting that could come out of this. That was the no, that's not a that's a called trinket trade. That's what it's called. Yeah, Otterpuss or oh, it does generate spells. Oops. Time Winder. It's a source of 1 damage. I think I kind of want to still stick to the Victor here. I'm okay with just losing out to the Fancier. And I'm only going to play 1 Absolver. We have the Sivir Absolver that we need to use to try and win the game with. And a Pokey Stick. Alright. It's just like the downside to this is we have the quicksand to block the Victor with, but a very good chance we'll lose our Sivir if that's the case. Yes, I mean we can just block him, right? We just block him with the snapper and leave him on board, but that kind of leaves us in a bit of an awkward space. Oh man, only 2 ticks on the rally. Kind of brutal. Two ticks on the reputation, I should say. So I don't think we can give up our Sivir. I think this is the kind of space to where we just have to quicksand Victor and block him with the Thrashing Snapper. And then we can get more units on board, but oh fuck, he's just gonna come in with the hook now. I guess ooh. We could have preemptively quicksanded him. I think that's what we should have done. That's a serious problem now. I don't care about Flame Spitter and all this other shit, but we're gonna lose our... Oh, just going for the lethal. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was just, with all those stats, I was really expecting him to come in and hook the Sivir. So we might be able to lethal this turn. We'll have... How much is this? 6 and 5? What's 6 plus 5? 11? That gets us up to 25 attack. But the big thing there is that it gives us the reputation for our tactician. And both of our units have spell shield. So kind of feel like there's a good chance. Oh, we just generate cards like True Shot Barrage. So much for that idea. Okay. Let's see what we can do. This just has so much potential to go wrong. Let's get a Sand Spinner in as well. If we're going to play the Sand Spinner, I mean, we're just kind of stuck. We might as well just play the Bone Crusher as well. And we can attack with Sivir to the right. I don't think we'll get any quick attacks in this turn, but... He's thinking hard on it, though. I mean, there's definitely a chance if we get to take down this Victor, we can just get a rally kill next turn. So you're saying there's a chance. We'll hook the Victor with the Callous Bone Crusher. The possibility for Get Excited is real. 12. Okay. Wallop. Sure. Okie dokie. You all remember, right, how awesome it was playing against all the conchologists? You get to see stuff like this, you say, oh, you generated a wallop. Oh my gosh, it's so greedy. Okay. I mean, I guess you try to find a spell shield or something, but... One must stack the wood before burning the fire. Oh, so greedy. It's like, I wish we could have come in and just hit this with like a boomerang blade or something. Just something absolutely stupid when people make terrible plays like that. Okay, on to the next one. On to the next one. Oh man, our LPs are going to fall all the way to 0. Oh no. All right, let's see if this guy's bringing the reputation. I don't think Ash Udyr typically does, but we'll see. We'll see what he's bringing to the party. Just glad to finally be playing against a deck that doesn't have a bunch of 1-damage AoEs in it. Here we go. Get him, Rockhopper. There's a world where we should have just like passed on this one, I think. And then see if he plays a unit. That's kind of slow. I don't know. I don't know if we're ever just going to get him with the reputation in the follow up, but or with the Roiling Sands in the follow up. Okay. Ooh, that was a choice draw. Learn from the pros right there. Definitely ready to come in and take down this Glory Seeker. Now, like, there's two things about this, right? I'm pretty sure this dude is also playing the Reputation deck. That's why we're going to see the Trifarian Glory Seekers. And I don't think this the Sivir is long for the world. But the removal suite, I think they, for some reason, typically play Elixir of Irons instead of playing Brittle Steels. I might be wrong on that, but that feels right. Bringing all the champions. Okay, let's drop the Waking Sands down here. Then we'll have the 6 mana to follow up with a 4 Glory. You can't flip this Ash, so we can definitely block something with the Sandstone Charger. Right, the Ash is going to target our Sivir, so we get a block somewhere with the Sandstone Charger. God, man, if this is the Elixir of Irons, I want to just be taking down the... Well, it's a 4 health unit either way, right? Brittle Steel. Yep, makes sense. Gotta get this open, though. We can't have him playing... a 1 damage AoE stance swap. Oh shit, it costs 0? Oh fuck. Oops, that one's on me. That one's on me, boys. Oh, I completely ignored the Udyr flip. I just thought we were going to be able to go into this turn and do stuff. Oh shit. Take that learning moment and put it in your brain piece. Alright, that wasn't good. I don't think we would have been too much more successful. Well, we would have definitely been more successful if we just played LeBlanc and went to see what happened. But that was definitely sloppy. Got to get a little more used to playing the Udyr. But man, that brings like even more problems. That's not even a card that was on my radar as to how bad it sucks to be playing all of these like small and 1 health units. Like him just having the opportunity to Udyr blast all of our 1 healthers. This is gonna be a brutal deck. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this was a deck that we took to our first 08. But we'll give it a shot. I'm worried about this here. We're playing against the Sentinels deck. They play all the Vile Feasts and everything. We're just going to get so boomed by Vile Feast right in the early game. This is not going to be good. At least he doesn't have a Sentinel start, it seems. There's the Sentinel. What up, Sivir? Okay. Oh, this one's going to be a struggle. This will be a struggle. Why can't people be playing more Sundisk to get these stupid decks out of the format? That's what we want, right? Just get these dumb Vile Feast decks out of here. These need the Sundisk out here just to annihilate all these control decks. Okay. Like I kind of want to get LeBlanc down, but we'll get the point of mana for next turn. If he's going to start popping spell shields, then I guess it's okay. There goes our Tactician. That kind of sucks. far off. We don't have any. We don't have any reputations. Okay. Bring your next mystic shot. Let us have it. Bring it on in so we can soak it on up. Enjoy it. Oh, more travelers. Okay. That was actually positive. But we won't let him pick and choose the blocks. We'll go ahead and try and take down the Spiderling, and then if he wants to throw a unit in front of Sivir, then fine. But I don't like these turns where we just attack when they have the small vulnerable unit, and then we don't do anything. Sure. How long do you think this Sivir is going to last? Do you think she's long for this world? Nope. Nope. Sure isn't. Yeah, listen, I can already tell, like, this next 3 weeks is just going to be like 3 weeks of me playing Stony Suppressor over and over again. It's like, I hope you enjoy that. That's what you're about to be getting. Okay, he still has a good attack with the 3/3, but these other ones are now bad. Sure. Let's get some other units down. Get these 2/1s ready to slam right into his 2/3s. Okay. Was a pretty good draw. Like, this is what I was talking about in the need to have these spell shielded units, right? As we run across, like, literally every deck in the format playing Mystic Shot, and we're out here running around with these 2 health LeBlancs and stuff, you just have to have, the Overwhelms. Alright, I'm sorry, you have to have the spell shields. So LeBlanc should flip off of her hit. Then we get in for 12. I'm trying to think if we want to attack with the Treasure Seeker just to try and get the cheapened mirror image. I don't think so. Alright, the LeBlanc can go, I think. Let's just come down here and protect our Ruin Runners. So we chunk in for 16 minus 6. We hit for 10. We'll have the 2 Overwhelmers for the next turn as well. It's a shot. Gives us a reputation for the Bone Crusher as well. Cool. Let's see if you hit that True Shot Barrage like the other guy. Okay. Okay. Ready to block. Alright, just got to put some stats in front of this stuff. We can't lose our Ruin Runners, but we can throw out the Treasure Seekers. The space this is going to leave us in is, like, we have to worry about Atrocity now, but, like, Atrocity Vi is just going to kill us anyways, right? And so there's no reason to play around Atrocity here. Let's just take us to 4. Sure. Okay, here's a Preservarium. Gonna add the Bone Crusher. Yeah, you have overwhelming stuff. So we'll add the Bone Crusher here. We don't want to just die to, like, a Shock Blast, and so we just have to be ready to open next turn. I'd say the chances of us winning this game are probably pretty low, but gotta bring it. Uh-oh, he's blocking. Oh my gosh, we won a game? Oh man, not today. Not today. Not bringing the 08 upon FTP bust in this one. GG. What a shocker. We got a victory. Good job, squad. You really lifted my spirits with that one. Oh man. Speaking of the spirits, I finished off Ghostbusters last night, the new one, the 2021 version with the kids. So you have the classic Ghostbusters from the 80s. You have the girl Ghostbusters, which I just ordered on Netflix. I haven't seen it. It's reviewed terribly. And then I guess this was what would be the kids Ghostbusters. And like it was fine the whole way through. I wasn't like entirely sure how I felt about like the return of Harold Ramis and them making like the ghost version of Harold Ramis and stuff. It's like is I kind of had a feeling they might do something with it in the terms that here we need like a little bit more in hand. Let's get rid of one of these snappers. And your choice of the characters that you could potentially bring back in the future, right? Everything has to have in mind now the sequel. And so if you're going to make a sequel and you're going to try and like bring back a character from the original Ghostbusters, then it needs to be one of them that's not dead, right? And so I wasn't surprised that they were including Harold Ramis as the kind of dead ghost thing. And so if you need to bring a character back, it can be him, right? Bill Murray and all those other dudes are still alive and stuff. But I wasn't expecting like the rest of the crew to just come in and show up, and then I wasn't expecting them to bring him back in like Tupac hologram form. That was kind of strange to me, but I thought it played well. And then I kind of figured that like, well, he's been dead. I looked it up; he'd been dead for like 6 or 7 years, and then like if Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd are kind of signing off on it, and the family's signing off on it, then it's probably okay. who am I? Who am I to say whether or not it's okay? But I thought it was at least tastefully done, and it was kind of touching having him in there as well. So it was all in all pretty good and cool. But he brings in the Broadwing. He's gonna attack this turn. I think it's okay even if he booms us and just passes. So let's stop here. Let's let him make his attack, and then we'll follow up on the next turn. I don't want Sivir getting hooked by this stuff immediately. Got to attack their stats here. More Waking Sands, more Waking Sands. Curious why he's just stalling. I can't remember if this deck plays Harsh Winds, but I think they play some amount of Frostbitey kind of cards. Very odd that he's just hard passing here, though. Durandi Protege. That sucks. That shuts down our Sivir attack. I mean, is it still... No, it doesn't, right? We can quick attack into the Broadwing, and so we'll hit it for 4, and then it'll strike back for 2. Or we could just bring this hook in. It's the other option. Okay. Okay. He does let us get a pretty big boom in. That's nice. Okay, so we're reputated. We got a flipped Sivir. All in all, pretty powerful stuff. Got him down to 4 with this double overwhelm hand. I like it. I like it. He can't kill us here. We're going to switch into this double Ruin Runner kind of thing. I think we want to keep our width. Like, this just reeks of a troll chant, right? And so if we don't play anything and he just takes the trade on Sivir, we get tons of stats off of the board. I think that's good. Skip it. Still unsure of our ability to win with an overwhelm, but like if we want, we can play the Merciless Hunter onto the 2-1, give it the vulnerable, then hook the 2-1 with Ruin Runner. This is going to be a pain in the butt dragon, though. Let's lead with Sivir. Let's see if he just taps a bunch of mana here. That gives us a decent option. Right, this does give us the option that if we, if he spends 7 mana, or 6 mana if he's just hanging out with like 1, then we have a realistic way to just come in and win the game. See, he's tapped out here now, taking down Sivir. Good. Good. You did stuff. Here comes the hooks. Right Arda. Right Renekton. Get him Varg. 2 in a row. Boom. Our fates have changed. Look at that. It feels good. Feels good, man. All right. 2 in a row. I didn't think we had it in us. I was assuredly thinking this was going to be an 08er, but moving on. Right. Man, there's always this idea at Magic as to, like, what deck do you take to a tournament? If there's like 2 or 3 decks that you're interested in, they're fairly similar in win rate and stuff, then you would just take the one that you would have the most fun with, right? If you're out there like playing a Grand Prix and playing like 9 rounds on the first day and 6 rounds on the second, or if you're playing a PTQ and playing like fucking 12 rounds in the same day, you don't want to be just playing some deck that you feel miserable about, right? You have to be kind of like in it and ready to play and have fun and stuff. And I do occasionally feel bad about never touching like the control end of the spectrum. It's just, people like to see that stuff. And so I was like, man, maybe we'll give some of this stuff a go. And so there's a Thresh Lux deck that's running around these days that it's like very few units, lots of spells. It's looking to fully take advantage of Lux, and then it's using the thing that makes your unit indestructible to be kind of like the big game-ending engine. And man, did I like play one game of that and got a control mirror that I played for like 23 minutes. Just got so super fucking bored and decided, nope, I know what I'm about. I'm not doing this shit. This is just not fun. And so that's why you're seeing this stuff today. That was like the least amount of fun I had playing a game in fucking ages. And so, man, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Playing control decks, it's so boring. Well, let's see what we can do here. The intent... Oh, interesting. The intent for the turn was to perhaps play a Waking Sands to send into this Saga Seeker, but he did it for us. he brought that out, so that's going to be the end of our action. I don't quite think it's worth slamming in the Waking Sands at this point. If we were close to hitting Reputation and getting a big 4 Glory going, then sure, maybe. But I think we're going to get our big turn next turn. The deck that he's playing doesn't have tons of ways to come out and interact with this stuff that we're about to bring. So we can safely play the Ruin Runner here. I don't think he'll be bringing like another Cataclysm from Taric. And so I think we're pretty safe in those terms. Now we're going to have the 8 mana this turn to drop both the Waking Sands and the 4 Glory. Pretty sure that's the way we'll go about it. We'll lead off with the cheap spell. I would like to see him, spend a bunch of mana before we try to boom as bros here. Pantheon, always interesting. So we do have like the Whirling Death style options here, but I don't really like it. I'm just going to go ahead and 4 Glory. It's going to force him into needing a Concerted Strike or a single combat, something. If he doesn't answer our big boys here, then we have 15 damage coming through. He brings the Totes Ma Goats. Sure. So we'll let him put Pantheon in front of whatever Pantheon wants to block, and then put the meat hooks in as real units here. Disaster. We're counting on you to do a lot of work here, Merciless Hunter. But we had some options with that turn, right? We could have just not played the 5/1s. We could have gone for the Whirling Death, but I think this is still good. We just need like one Overwhelm unit, and we should be able to take it down. Got the double Whirling Death for this turn as well. Curious if he just comes in and what he does here. So we want to put our block onto Taric, right? If we block Taric and then Whirling Death Pantheon, we won't take any of the Overwhelm damage coming out of this. Oh, he's got... Okay, that still works. See if he responds with anything. I would be pretty happy to, if we need to say, like, pivot and then just Whirling Death Taric. But killing both of his units would be pretty choice. So we can do 3 and 3. I think we want to flip to just hitting Taric now. So if he has another combat trick, we should still kill the unit. And if he doesn't have a combat trick, our unit gets saved here. It's not enough, right? 3 and 3, he needs 6 health. Okay. Alright, so we gotta just get some width here now. This would be a... Oh, he got another unit? Fuck. It's like this would be a perfect place to hit one of those 4 glories. Chunk in again. Callous Bonecrusher has Overwhelm. I did the mathematics on that one. See if he plays a unit that we can hook with the Bonecrusher that doesn't involve Pantheon being in combat. Yep. Comes the animation. You had lifesteal in there as well. Okay. So if this Pantheon gets to hit, we're done for, but we have the hook into his unit now. Maybe. No single combat, please. Fuck. Alright. And so that was... We did have that pivotal turn in there, right? I think the problem that you run into with turns like that, when you don't play the units and you go for the double Whirling Death, is if they have enough mana to kind of like fight through it, then they're just like getting everything that they want to get. I guess it's a little bit better when they're on the defensive, right? Because if you're playing all of your combat tricks defensively, then you're not doing damage to your opponent. And so that would have been an argument for it, but without using the Glory Seekers, there would have been like a pretty reasonable chance we would have just gone into the next turn and died. So it's an awkward spot. All right, Kindred Vigio again. This is another nightmare matchup. We got to touch on this earlier, and it was horrible, and it's still going to be that way. We'll bring out that curve, though. Sure. Disaster. I mean, should we be opening there? I don't know. This just feels like one of these matchups where something has to go right. And if things aren't going right, then it just feels horrible. Let's do this. Let's put down Rockhopper. He drops a unit. We might get to take it down next turn. Okay. Maybe. Maybe okay. At least we don't have to deal with Mystic Shots coming out of this, right? If you wanna talk about the perks. What she got for us? I can already tell this is gonna be lame. Oh shit, we're losing a Rockhopper this way, aren't we? I forgot about the Kindred bringing in problems. That was sloppy. We should have just attacked with LeBlanc. Okay, well, let's get the Treasure Seeker down. We'll follow up with the Merciless Hunter. This should at least hopefully protect our LeBlanc, but... Oh, okay. Alright. That was fun. On to the next one.
Exactly as I planned it.
Alright, getting into our final battle. The last one of the video. So, see what we face. I hope it's some more Mystic Shots and some more Make It Rain based decks. There we go. The Ezreal Caitlyn. This is the one that I was expecting to play a bunch of. And it's just a nightmare, right? If you're looking at the units that we're deploying onto the board and them just so easily being able to handle everything, it's a real pain in the ass. But we can still do it. We can still bring in our spell shields and hopefully power through that way. They don't have a great turn 2 answer to this start. Like, they can Mystic Shot something, sure, but well, House Spider's the other problem one. That is the problem one. Oh, these attacks are just so bad. Let's just try and get some quick attack challenges into these units. Okay, have to take the Caitlyn hit.
History forgets, but the Black Rose remembers. Let's investigate.
All right. Time for action, Sivir. Time for action. That's less awesome. I was actually hoping that, well, number one, that they wouldn't just immediately start hitting flashbang traps, but I was preferring our smaller units to die so that he doesn't open up the usage of Ravenous Flocks and Scorched Earths. So this kind of sucks that LeBlanc got popped there. Interesting.
Step lightly.
All right, let's put all the damages out here now. This will get at least a flip onto this LeBlanc and put a mirror image in our hand. Oh, he has the thing. We gave us a shot at it. We got an attempt. That's apparently the best you can ask for sometimes. Yeah, I guess Sivir is about to eat a Tri-Beam or something. They typically don't play Get Exciteds out of this deck. It'd just be a Tri-Beam, or it would be a whatchamacallit, a Thermogenic Beam. But might get to re-Sivir next turn. Bring out the spell shields and stuff. We drew one here handily. This nice ricochet. I'd like to get a nice ricochet kill. That would feel pretty good. that'd be pretty sweet.
Time is money.
Okay. Just doing that to get the dude on the board, or is this a Ravenous Flock play? Ravenous Flock, okay. Sure. Alright, getting the 6 mana turn. So if we want to play Sivir, she's going to be our only unit, but we could potentially just play the Waking Sands. It's like I kind of like to hold on to Sivir for a little bit, because it's quite strong, you know, if we get to give our whole team Spell Shield. But I just don't think we're going to have the time for those kind of shenanigans. And this is a bit of an awkward turn. I mean, we could play Merciless Hunter onto the Sentry, try and hook Sentry with the Treasure Seeker, and then still have a decent hook into Caitlyn. Maybe that's how we go about it.
Go get the shiny
Then if he just keeps passing, it does give us an option to maybe chunk in 5 with the Waking Sands and get a reputation hit in. Like, that's where I think we'll be doing some real work, is if we can like just build up this monster turn to where we get a flipped Sivir attack and then we get to rally it. So we get to put the spell shield on all of our units and then come in. That's what I think we're kind of hoping and dreaming for. This is odd he didn't play anything in between combat. This would have to be like a double spell onto our the Kai. Okay. Interesting. An actual positive flashbang set. I'm not used to that happening. That's not something we usually get. So do we have the mana for all this next turn? If we want to attack with Sivir with 2 Waking Sands on the board, and then follow up with the Tactician, that's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can do that next turn. Let's get Sivir down. Okay. I want to try and get this full takedown on Caitlyn. I don't want to go into the combat and then be like, herder, it's a Caitlyn Mystic Shot and take down the Enforcer. We want to get those stats off of the board. Tri-beam. Okay. That seems fairly positive. We can deal with them having units on the board. No, we get to can't block unit. That kind of sucks for you. Kind of sucks for you. Alright, she still has her spell shield. So does anything change in terms of now having Ruin Runner? I don't think so yet. Let's lead off with these Waking Sands and then see if we want to pivot, depending on what they play. Right, it's still pretty decent if we go into next turn and then... oh, Captain Farron? We deal with Captain Farron? Like, not on the front side attack, but we can play like a second Waking Sands. And then we can have her flip. I think we're going to have to wait until next turn for the Tactician. Okay.
Seeing tombs, towns, and everything in between. Business as usual.
One of these. He has to block with Captain Farron. And then if he puts the Captain Farron in front of Ruin Runner, we have the Absolver to take him down. Okay. Did we mess that up? Should we have hooked? We should have hooked Captain Farron with Sivir, shouldn't we? We're gonna lose this game now, aren't we? That would have been the she doesn't have Challenger. It was just that middle unit that had Vulnerable. We should have hooked that middle unit with our 5 attack thing, and then if he wants to block with Captain Farron, he has to do it with make him have to do it with
My desert, my rules.
the other thing there. Just take us to 6. Oh no! I meant to put the other Absolver on the Ruin Runner. I wanted to be at 7, because now we die to a Mystic Shot plus a Decimate. Fuck. What's this? More damage. So he gets to hit for 8. Now we have to win before he can Decimate. Oh, nice top deck. Nice top deck. Fuck. That was... Well, yeah, he had to hit a removal spell there. So close. Well, we did some puntery of our own there, so that was the way that we should have done it. We should have hooked his Spiderling with the 5/1, and then if he wants to block with Captain Farron, we have the Absolvers to take it down. And so we can't complain too much about the top decks because we shouldn't have like guaranteed won that game. We should have just put that game like up into the stratosphere of being able for us to take down. And so I'll take the blame on that one. We had a few handy misplays today, but some pretty good learning moments across the board, whether it be forgetting how Udyr strikes work and that one there at the end. And so, but yeah, in terms of this deck, this is just not a good time for this. This is a horrifically bad time for this deck to turn up. Now, I don't know exactly how to kind of view that in terms of the meta, because we run into like two awkward and kind of painful things whenever the new sets come out and the new cards come out. The first thing you see is that everyone wants to come out and try and play the new cards. And so that's why we're going to see a bunch of reputation decks. We're going to see a bunch of Udyr decks running around, people trying to mess around with the new cast play rule and trying to play Ezreals, and the nerf to the Sun Disk. And so what is kind of what we're seeing here in the meta and the way that this is shaping up is everybody wants to play Ezreal because of the play cast change. It's not that big of a deal. There's not a ton of times. Like, yes, you can have one unit on the board and you cast like 4 Mystic Shots and you get the extra bonus damage for all of the Mystic Shots on the single unit. I'm not saying that Ezreal isn't more powerful than he was a week ago. It's just not enough to throw Ezreal up into the stratosphere of goodness. But that's what we're seeing are people out here playing Ezreal because of that change, and he is the most kind of direct way to see it. And so that does, kind of like push up all of these Ezreal-based control decks. The most common one is going to be the Ezreal Caitlyn, because that was the best iteration in the previous set. But they also have the perk of just like annihilating decks like this. If you're, say, looking at a matchup like Elites versus Ezreal Caitlyn, their removal spells don't line up nearly as well, right? You can't just Mystic Shot literally every single unit in the deck. You can't just kill off half of their board with flashbang traps. And so just as the matter of that deck, trying to punish through stats, it just has a more positive matchup than this one does against the likes of P and Z based removal spells. And so that's, kind of like pushing it to the top. You're seeing people play, all of these reputation decks, all of these Udyr decks, lots of 2 health units running around. And so they're just kind of pushing to the top. The flip side of that is the thing that was really kind of like quelling all of these control decks was the Sun Disk, right? If you're trying to play a deck that wins on turn 10 or turn 11 or turn 12, and your opponent plays a deck that just wins the game on turn 8, then you're really struggling, right? If you if you can't piece together the mathematics on that, when the deck winning on turn 8 is going to be the advantage, and I think, in terms of the Sun Disk, we were seeing a lot of it just because it was the new thing. We were seeing a lot of it because it did just crush all of the control decks. And then it really started to like peter out and fall off. And so like immediately after the 3.4 patch, it was running at like 20% of the meta. Then at some point last week, it was running at like 10% of the meta. And now it's going to be even lower, just naturally because people aren't that interested in it anymore, and then because the Sun Disk also got nerfed. And so what all this is like kind of circling around to is we should start to see a more rise and a more commonality to these kind of control decks, especially since the Sun Disk isn't around so much. And so is there ever going to be a time where this deck is good? Maybe. But this meta is admittedly quite bad to be trying to run around with all of these small units. And it's not even just like the Ezreal Caitlyn deck. It's like, what if your opponent's playing Make It Rain? What if your opponent's playing Scouts, right? Do you really want to be playing all these tiny-ass units into your opponent with a Challenger and a Misfortune? Probably not. Let's be real. That sounds fucking terrible. So it's not that this deck is terrible, right? There could be a meta where this is okay. There could be a gauntlet format to where you want to bring this style of deck to it. But as a competitive ladder deck, does this have a place? Absolutely not. This deck does not have the tools and the kits for it. And we were even out here, like I knew ahead of time that the Ezreal Caitlyn's and the Victors and all the decks playing Mystic Shots were going to be a problem. That's why we were carrying the Ruin Runners, and it helped. Right, we were a contender in a lot of those games because of the Ruin Runners, but it's just not a good place to be. This is not a format to where LeBlanc is going to shine, right? If the most common deck in the format is Ezreal Caitlyn, and then the next one is going to be some flavor of Victor, this is not it. I'm curious if we look at the at least as a day 2 thing. Let me see if we can click on meta. Matches for most common across the world the past 2 days. The most common deck is Ezreal Caitlyn. The Sun Disc, like we were talking about, I assume that will push back up. There's Pirates, which is a Misfortune deck with Make It Rains, and then we're starting to see Jace. I was looking to see if there were going to be a lot more Victors up here, but not the case, at least here. But I'm curious to see how that shakes out. So long story short, I'm starting to go off on tangents and start to ramble. This is an absolutely fine deck to play for funsies. This will do some ladder climbing for you, but this is not a good deck to be playing right now. And so right now being April the 29th, maybe if you give it a week or two or something like that, the meta will kind of stabilize and you can find a good space for it, but not real happy with this right now. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. I hope you enjoyed playing with the Reputation, Taylor Swift's worst album, if you will. I shouldn't say things like that. I really love Taylor Swift. She's one of my favorites, but that album was not good. I'm sorry, Taylor. It hurts from the bottom of my heart to say that. But when you're playing a deck called Reputation, you have to bring it up. Anyways, I hope you learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.